Until we weren't.
We're two chaotic souls, one punk and a little unhinged.
One soft and very pink.
This is Ex-Best Friends. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jax. And every week we dive into stories that are messy, magical, or mildly traumatizing. Sometimes all three.
From spiritual chaos to ex-friend reunions, listener confessions, and the wildest Reddit stories we can dig up.
We are your cosmic gossip hotline with emotional damage and healing energy.
So grab a drink, get cozy, or chaotic.
And let's get into it!
Okay, so today we have a guest speaker. Ta-da-da-da! Megan, how do you pronounce your last name again? I already forgot.
Fahlenbock. It's very phonetical. Fahlenbock. Yeah.
Awesome. You may or may not know her from Total Drama. Also, one of my things which I learned, you were in an episode of Good Witch, and I am a witch. I love witchy stuff. That's a great. I had to look you up. I might have done a little bit of an IMDb search.
Perfect.
And then today we have Megan because Kat is a student of hers in a voice acting class that she is taking. So, do you want to talk about how you, or first of all, I actually let Megan introduce herself. I'm so sorry. My brain's...
Yeah. Go ahead and share.
That's okay.
Go ahead and share a bit of your backstory and different shows you've been a part of, if you'd like.
Sure. Okay, amazing. Well, hi. Yeah? Okay. Okay, well, hi everyone. Yes, I'm Megan Fahlenbock, and I am a performer. I've been in the business since I was about 13 years old, professionally speaking. I found my love of acting on the stage. I think I went to a show. Same. You too? Yeah, we all sort of fell in love with acting. Stage acting. Yeah, I had gone to see a performance of Annie. I don't think I'm the only one who fell in love with acting via Annie. I never did play in a production of Annie, but I soon after I played in Peter Pan, and I played in Peter Pan twice. One says Peter Pan and one says Wendy. Always loved the stage. I've always loved the stage. It's probably my most favorite, but I then got into modeling.
It was her phone notification going off. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So got into modeling and commercials, and got in with the union, and then the Canadian Union, because I am from up north.
Canada!
Not the 52nd state.
You guys have real maple syrup there.
We sure do. Do you not have real maple syrup there? I don't understand why. I think you have a lot of the same trees.
We also don't have ketchup chips, which you guys have the blessing of.
Yeah, I know. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. How come you don't have ketchup
what?
chips?
Ketchup chips. And
we're known for our
also
ketchup chips.
So when we have Smarties, we're like, this is the most mid-grandma looking candy ever. But when I visited Vancouver, I saw what your Smarties are, and they're actually fire. So...
Oh, yeah? Why?
Yeah.
What are different about our Smarties?
So your Smarties are, actually chocolate. Ours are, things that look like pills that are just random flavoring.
Let's put it this way. When I was a kid, me and my friends used to pretend that we were, literally popping pills with Smarties.
Oh, that's very funny. So they're, more like a Tic Tac?
Yeah, kind of. They're more have you ever had the wafer candies? They're not, what are they called? They're not wafers. They're compact sugar. It's compact.
Oh yeah.
Sugar.
Let me find.
Yeah, compact sugar. Oh yeah, I'm trying to think of one of those wafer. Anyway, like a Skittle or something. More like a Skittle.
That's what our Smarties are.
It's not a Skittle.
Oh yeah, one of those rockets, like a rocket candy.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: when you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last?
I like the purple ones.
Do you suck them
best,
very slowly or eat them very fast?
Okay, I like grape flavored things, so I always save the grape ones for last.
She likes grape flavored things. I hate grape flavor things. And that might just be because of the fact that I've had cold medicine that tastes like grape.
My favorite flavorings are grape and watermelon flavorings. Yeah.
So Well, interesting. So yes, I'm sure we have lots of differences, and lots of similarities, and I think we can all get along. We are part of North America.
Yeah.
But anyway, aside from that, so yeah, I got my start. Then I booked a movie, and then I quit acting for a little while, and I just tried to not be an actor. I did a movie made for TV, an NBC, one of those movies of the week that was back in the late 80s. And I played a concentration camp survivor. My head was shaved, came back to home, and life got a little funny,
What
and I
movie
just
was
wanted
it?
to be a normal kid. It was called Lena and My 100 Children. And it was based on a very true story, kind of like
Neither
it's sort
of
of
us have heard of it, have we?
I haven't heard that one. I was wondering the only movie that I remember that's based off of the Nazis and all that stuff was The Boy in Stripes. Boy in Stripes.
yeah, that's in the Boy in Striped Pajamas. Great film,
That
film.
is such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then there's also the blockbusters like Schindler's List. And I mean, there are just so many. But the film that I did basically would have taken place kind of where Schindler's List ended, sort of when everybody was free, but nobody knew where to go, and everybody was just, disenfranchised. And everybody's family was dead. Anyway, it was a very intense movie and a great movie, but I did take a break after that, and I really tried not to be an actor. I went to school for psychology and anthropology. I've always
so
had an
cool.
athletic background, so I became a professional water skier. I basically joined the circus, and I went all over the world doing water ski performances. And then while I was living in Thailand, and traveling, I went on a little trip through India and visited Bollywood and all that. And I thought, you know what? I cannot do this thing called life without feeling like I gave this a good shot. So I came back to Toronto, Canada, and started acting for real with, already in the union. You have SAG-AFTRA and we have ACTRA. So I was already in the union and got a really good agent right away, and I really haven't looked back since. But yes, now I am a coach as well. I coach a lot of voice and acting and really performance of all. I'm really interested in the mental game of performance and kind of the mental game of life. And then I'm auditioning all the time, so I'm doing a little bit of both, and I'm a mom, so I do a lot of that stuff too. I got mom things to do.
Which form of acting do you think is your favorite? Either voice acting, stage acting, or TV acting?
Honestly, I love them all. Like, I'm so into storytelling, so I'm always happy to be a part of anything. I will say my life gets less disrupted with voice acting. My life gets more disrupted with on-camera acting because I have to be somewhere and for a long period of time. I could be on set for 16 hours, so life kind of changes for a little bit when I'm on a show. So in that way, I find voice acting a lot more convenient. Being on an animation, doing animation is so much more fun, I think, and creative and freeing than commercials. But I love doing commercials also. Like, I do love finding a story in commercials, and I do like the money I get paid doing commercials for a very, very short period of time. Sort of in and out, 2 hours, and then it's the gift that keeps on giving sometimes. So, yeah, but I love it all. Honestly, I love being a storyteller and just being a part of any story and sort of trying to make sense of words,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of my life story in a nutshell.
Awesome. Did you want to talk about how you found Megan for being a coach?
Yeah, so basically, I was looking up getting voice coaches because I was already in some fan project at the time, and I wanted to take it to the next level. What year was this? 2022, 2023? We've been working together for a couple of years now, but
I didn't know that. I did not know that part.
yeah, because the podcast about how we hated each other for a short time.
Yeah, I know. I know that Kat told you about our podcast, and I don't know how much you know about it or if you've even listened to any of our episodes. But the first 3 episodes we did were talking about, the first one was how her and I were friends back in middle school. We met when I was in 6th grade and she was in 7th. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then second episode is about our falling out, this huge fight that we got into.
Children be childrening.
What?
Children
Yeah,
be
children be
childrening.
children. We got into this huge fight. We stopped being friends for a while. And then the third episode is our recollection and like getting back to being friends and talking to each other, and then how we got to this point.
We didn't talk much at all from like 2020 until like end of 2024. So
no, we didn't.
Like,
ow!
I was like, we got into a really, really big fight over some stupid little drama. Yeah, that honestly was really stupid when we look back at it now.
We're kids, you know, and we feel like if that happened to us now, we could have talked about it and not
I think if that happened to us now, you know what? We should do a whole podcast about like what happened. What would happen if this had happened now?
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't have ended up like falling us out.
No, I don't think it would have. I think we would have been able to communicate about it.
Yeah, but
exactly.
That's because
you're
we're
better communicators now, and you got through that thing.
Yeah. So. Like, a big thing that kept us together, even when we hated each other, was we were, what we would have said, forced against our will to be in theater productions together back then, but I think it was a good thing in hindsight.
Yeah. But we did at least, 3 or 4 productions while still hating our guts.
Yeah. But, so yeah, this is about theater stories, and
we'll touch on a few of the parts, like some of the stories that we did together when we were not friends, and we might even talk a little bit about what we were thinking about during those productions, because there was like at least 1 or 2 of them, like we mentioned before we got on the call. There's one play that we'll bring up later where she got a part that I actually was auditioning for.
Yeah.
And she got it while I was still hating her, and I was really pissed about that.
But, yeah, so we are going to get into that. We wanted to, so how I found you, because I don't think I ever said that. So I was working with you for like 4 years, maybe like 3 years now, maybe 2, I don't remember. But time is a social construct, okay?
Yeah, because the world doesn't turn or anything like that.
Yeah, but
we're all in a simulation.
But basically,
no.
But, so, I was like, ooh, I want a voice coach. Like, I was voicing him from, like, fan machinima stuff on YouTube and stuff, so I was like, let me try to do this to the next level. And then I was, like, looking through, I found this website that had a list of coaches. I don't remember what it was, but it was, like, a list of...
Voices.com.
Yeah. It was a list of different coaches, and I looked through names, I was like, Megan Fahlenbock, I recognize that name. So I ended up looking you up, and I was like, oh, Total Drama is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. I admit I have not seen 16. Don't kill me. I
haven't even seen Total Drama. I haven't seen Total Drama. The only thing that I've seen that you were in is Good Witch. That is it.
Okay, well, that's something. Not even Haven, because Haven gets all, like, sort of witchy.
Wait, you were in Haven? You were in Haven?
Yeah,
I love Haven.
Haven, yeah. I had like a few episodes of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about, there's another one that you probably would have liked if you're into that kind of stuff, and it's, what is it? I'll have to go look at my IMDb, isn't that terrible? But
I know.
Yeah, and I think you would enjoy it.
You were in something called The Last Sect.
Yeah, that's another weird one that you might.
What were we? I'll continue the story.
Resident Evil. Yeah, Warehouse 13. That was the one I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm. But I'll continue the story while they look it up.
Yeah.
Basically, I was like, and trigger warning.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Were you in Ginny and Georgia?
Yes, I'm in Ginny and Georgia.
I just finished season 3!
So did I. Oh my
God.
God.
So good! Wait, no way! I'm so sorry. Now I'm gabbing with your couch. I love Ginny and Georgia, and the season 3 made me cry several times, especially during the scene. Real quick to people watching, spoilers coming along. If you have not seen season 3, click out of this episode now.
It for me, I want to watch it.
You don't want to watch it.
Why not?
There's a lot of sex in the show.
Yes, you do.
No, she will be uncomfortable with a lot of the stuff in the show. There's a lot of sex and stuff.
There is a lot. There is a lot.
I hate watching.
There is a lot.
in season 3, the episode when Ginny and Austin are being taken from Georgia by CPS.
Oh.
I was in the system. I was taken by the CPS. That episode made me bawl my eyes out.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Oh gosh,
Look,
there's a lot.
This is all the stuff that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is so cool that you were in Ginny and Georgia. Like, that is genuinely one of my favorite shows right now, and I started watching it when it first came out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is an incredible show.
Anyways, keep going. I'm so sorry. I'm going to start looking through your IMDb more now while you do that.
Trigger warning for when we get into it. I recognized your name because you tweeted about, I was like, oh wait, she was in Total Drama, and she tweeted about how another Total Drama voice actor who was a voice coach was a predator of some kind.
Yes, did I? Yes,
That's
I did.
How I knew
yes.
your name, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's how I knew you were a voice coach, unfortunately. But
yeah, that was an unfortunate situation. That's an abuse of power, and I take stands against any of that. So
yeah, that's good.
Me Too movement.
He played the only character that's in every single season, didn't he? Because he played the host.
Yes. Yeah. And has since been replaced, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it was really, and I was like, oh, so I think I reached out to you either email or there was something on voices.com or whatever about it. So.
Yeah, probably email. It was probably email. And
then we did a meeting, right? And
yeah.
So my dad was in the meeting with me because my dad is supportive, but he's also very practical, right?
Yeah.
So when the first meeting, he was like, hey, do some sessions with her. And then he was basically, tell her if she sucks so she can quit now. Okay, he didn't say it exactly like that, but he was like,
it's true.
Tell her if you don't think it's going to work out for her so she doesn't waste her time or something. So I was scared. And then the last session we did, I was like, when we're going to decide we can do more, I was like, hey, Megan, do I have potential?
Yes, you do. And so much of your potential comes from your passion and your love for this, but you really do. You really do have potential. And I think there are so many, and you got to go after what you want to do. I don't think you should ever hold that.
I was and I literally ended the call, and I think I cried because I was like, oh my god, Gwen's voice actor thinks I have potential. That's crazy because Gwen was the main character of the series basically. So
yeah. Which, speaking of Gwen, one of the things that we wanted to talk about was I actually had somebody tell me a while ago I had a specific haircut and makeup style that I had. I was told I looked like Gwen.
Cool, yeah.
Show a picture to get Megan's opinion as Gwen's probably number one.
This is not, I don't think this is the right picture. That's the problem. I found a picture and I don't know if it's the right style. But, oh wait, maybe this picture would have been better. Hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
There we go.
And do you have a little streak in there? No, that would just be one extra thing.
It was just black, but I did actually at one point have black and blue hair.
Cool.
Black and the blue stripes.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Very different look.
Mm-hmm. That's how we got to, and even now, what was crazy to me, and Jackson's thought this was cool, because I take a different voice class with you now, right? And with a group of people, and I genuinely like that group a lot.
I know, and I think you're so instrumental in the class, and I have an idea for us. We can talk about that another time, but I think we should host something together. Where we can just be in a class. I want you to be, I have an idea for you.
Jackson won't believe
where we
this
can do
I'm the
some
most follower person ever. But in that class, I am not that. But
no, Kat's instrumental. It's a lot of boys, and they don't know how to act with the girls, and yeah, you're really helping a lot of them sort of come out of their shell, and it's really great to see. And I think it would be really.
You're the only girl.
I think at the moment, it's a drop-in class, so we could always have more. But
I keep
at the moment, just the
names of the emails, and I'm like, there are girls that are not showing up, and
there are girls that are not showing up. But I think we could do something. I really do think we could do something where we have to do some stuff online together. So, and then and it'll just be something that. Where we can both make some money, my friend. So I want to do that.
Money.
Money.
one of my favorite characters.
But also
in total
helping,
drama.
helping people.
Zoe's like my favorite character in the show, and she has a line in one of the episodes. She's like, "Money, removing all common sense and fear of danger." And I've like never like she is like the character I relate to the most, like probably of all time. So I was like, this is the best line. But anyways,
that's a very funny line.
Let me pull up my notes.
I have it right here.
Okay, so
and then you were talking when we first started like call and everything, is that you have an audition that you're doing?
Yeah, I've got an audition. Actually, one of the cast of Total Drama Island has written a series, so and it is phenomenal. So I've got a couple of characters that I'm working on right now for that. And yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, so it's animated.
Well, I don't know if Kat told you, but we just recently did an audition for a play here in our town called 39 Steps.
Yes, I do know. Yep. And did you get a part in it, Jackson?
So
no, neither of us did.
Oh,
yeah, we were really disappointed in that. The reason why is that when we were looking at the cast list and like the characters and everything, there are 3 names of 3 different women, and we assumed, these 3 women are going to be cast for 3 different women, and so I auditioned for Pamela. She auditioned for Margaret. We get there and we find out that Pamela, Margaret, and Annabelle are all played by the same person.
Oh, dear.
We didn't do our research correctly.
No.
I guess.
Well, that's there you go. There's a learning opportunity, a learning moment. You know,
But
I
we
do
both
like to say,
fashion.
get clarity.
We get to be on costume crew together.
Oh, that'll be amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. And you know what? If you love if you love storytelling, then I think it's really important that you get involved in other aspects of the storytelling.
And
Being an actor is great.
I'm actually practicing ahead of time for my audition in August for Pan the Musical. So
I can't audition for that because I'm going to be moving by the time that the play is going to be like actually performing.
I am begging to audition for Tinkerbell. So
yeah.
I really want to be Tinkerbell. I mean, I'm always ensemble in musicals because I'm not like the greatest singer, but I'm still gonna try. And I actually was talking to AI, and AI was actually saying that like a big part of Tinkerbell is like you're supposed to sing with emotion, like not necessarily skill or something for whatever reason.
I got her addicted to using ChatGPT.
Yeah,
I know it's pretty good.
Tinkerbell, like she doesn't do belts, which is good for me because I'm not a belter. She also, it's more important for her to sing with like her characterization and feeling rather than like her actual good singing voice, because apparently Tinkerbell's character, she more so sings not to sound good but for like emotional reasons. So
I think that's a great way to approach singing.
So I'm going to be approaching it that way. I'm going to try to like do characterization rather than focus on skill.
Just commit. Whatever you do, you commit. And I think in musicals, characters sing, right? It's a tool where they sing their next thought. So if you're just using that intention and singing with that conviction and passion, then then you'll sell it.
I've been practicing the song One Kiss for Descendants 3 as my potential audition song. So
cool. Awesome. Well, maybe you'll bring it to class.
What? I'm obsessed with the Descendants movies.
You know what? You and I are going to have a conversation about Descendants because in my opinion, the first like 2, maybe even 3 movies are okay, but after Cameron Boyce died, it just no. The 4th movie is not as great.
I haven't watched it, but
they make a little tribute to him in the first couple scenes, and it's really sad, but it's really good. Yeah. Besides the point, though, I don't like the rest of the movie. I feel like
Descendants 2 is my favorite, in my opinion. But, but One Kiss is from Descendants 3, and that seemed like to be the best for Tinkerbell.
Right.
Anyways,
do you want to talk about your I can't say that, the Missoula or however
Missoula Children's Theater.
Children's
I did that as a
Do you
kid.
want to do that while I go grab drinks? Because I want a drink.
Sure. Can you get me some water?
Yeah, water. Do you want water or your sparkling ice?
I'll take sparkling ice.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Okay, so
I'll still be able to hear you though.
Yeah, because they'll But okay, so basically, Missoula Children's Theater was like a traveling theater. that went to like schools of like people aged kindergarten to 6th grade. And they would like put on different plays, but copyright free versions because they could not afford to buy the rights. So the first play I did was a take on Blackbeard the Pirate, right?
Oh.
And that was in 3rd grade, and I really wanted to play. And the thing was, I went to a small school with like back then with like 15 people per grade, so basically everyone who auditioned got a part those years.
Yeah.
The first year I really wanted to be a mermaid, but because I wasn't out yet, I couldn't. So I remember when I got a crab, I would be really jealous and like glare at the people who were mermaids. Like 3rd grade, I'd be like, "How dare you be a mermaid without me?" But I really wanted to be a mermaid, and then the next year, I don't remember why. What happened. I don't remember what play we did in 4th grade year at all, but I genuinely don't remember. I know I did a play then, but I don't remember what it was. I genuinely don't remember, but...
Yeah. But you've done quite a few.
Mm-hmm. Like...
What...
And 5th grade year, my teacher was in... We talked about how horrible she was in the last episode. So she didn't let our class do the play for some reason. She didn't let our whole class sign up for whatever reason. But 6th grade year, my last year there, and the last year I could have done it, we did Princess in the Pea. And I remember crying because I had like a one-line character who was like just a random citizen. And since then, my dad has basically told me that if I was out, I would have been the Princess in the Pea, because apparently I'm exactly like her, because I would. He says I would have 100% feel a pea if it was 20 feet under my bed and feel it and be hurt by it. Because I feel things. I feel things intensely, like, so, like, he says I would have absolutely fit her character, but,
oh, well.
Play, and,
yeah, cool.
Yeah, that play was crazy.
You have 3 opened bottles of sparkling ice.
I did.
So I brought you 2
Thank
opened
you.
bottles of sparkling ice.
Thank you. But, yeah, so that year, that was just me. Those years were just me being butthurt that I couldn't be women characters, but, so that was
because that was before you came out.
Yeah. Like, me crying about, I think you heard it, but when I was
I couldn't hear it because you were still deafened on me.
But, like, when I was, like, glaring. So, like, the first year we did Blackbeard the Pirate, right?
Okay.
And I wanted to be a mermaid, but I was a crab. So every time the mermaids rehearsed their scenes, I would give them, like, a death glare. like, I want to be one of you.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, that's about it, like, for that. Like, other than my dad, I don't remember what I did, like, 4th grade year, I don't remember what play we did. I know we did one. And then 5th grade year, my teacher didn't let our class do it for whatever reason, because she hated our class. But 6th grade year, we did Princess in the Pea. I had, like, a one-line citizen, and my dad said, because I feel things on such an intense level, I would have been perfect for the princess if I was out. But, like...
Well, speaking of characters with only one lines, my first acting experience would have been Lion King Jr. at our middle school. And I played Serafina, Nala's mom. And my only line was to go like this, look back at Sarabi and say, Sarabi? Because the children were coming to me, be like, Mom, Nala was like, Mom, can we go to the watering hole? And I'm just like, supposed to be sitting there like, well, I don't know. And so I look back at Simba's mom to be like, well, what do you think? That was my only
That's very
line.
funny.
And there was a huge drama within the cast because the person who was playing Pumbaa was dating somebody else on in the cast, and they had a huge falling out. It was really funny to watch.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. That stuff can be interesting.
Crazy, but
oh yeah.
Did you have a theater
Cool.
story you wanted to tell? Like, we wrote it in for you to tell a few multiple times.
We're checking our
Yeah,
notes.
well, sort of. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I loved my very first play I ever did was I got the role in grade 6 of Peter Pan in the school play, and I knew it was being Peter Pan that made me realize I definitely wanted to be an actor. So I kind of knew when I was 11 years old that I was going to be an actor, and part of it was doing the actual show, but the other thing that really sealed the deal was having all these little kids from the school, because it was like a K-6 school, wanting, just knowing me, and they just called me Peter. Obviously, that's how they knew me, as Peter. They're like, Peter, Peter, Peter. And I just realized this kind of power that one had, like the power of performance.
They were Lost Boys? They were your Lost Boys?
Yeah, I guess they were all my Lost Boys, all my Lost Boys. All my little lost children were everywhere, and yeah, so I really fell in love with that, and just the power of like being a storyteller, and just the importance of it, and how storytelling can really change people and can make people alter their lives for the better. They can through watching a show, they can realize I gotta make some changes. I gotta cut loose some friends, or I need to leave my husband, or I need to I need a new job. I need to live my life on my terms, and that's such an important thing. So, and then my more recent like later life theater stories were like, I did this really, one of the coolest shows I did was in kind of I guess in the earlier 2000s, I did a show called The Reservoir Bitches at Fringe, New York. So I lived in New York and did it was basically an off Broadway, but I moved to New York to do a Fringe show called The Reservoir Bitches, and it was a parody of the Reservoir Dogs, all female cast, super cool, all these amazing
the Dogs.
Yeah, so the film The Reservoir Dogs.
I know of it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a Quentin Tarantino classic. So this was a remake called The Reservoir Bitches, and I played blonde. I had a soften ear. Sorry. There's a spoiler alert if you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs. There's a real classic scene where there's an ear that gets cut off, and I had to do the cutting off scene. I had so many fun things. I had to sing, I had to dance, but there was not as much singing, more dancing. I had a dance number. It was just my own personal dance number, my character Blonde, because everyone's called by different names. And then I went on I wrote a Fringe show that got selected as the best Fringe show at the Toronto Fringe Festival a few years later. Yeah, so I wrote a Fringe show.
Yeah, we do our own writing as well. Not only do we act, we have our own writing. I'm working on a book that I already wrote the whole thing. I just need to convert it from the form that it's into actual book form, but I haven't decided if I want it to be a book now or if I want it to be a script, which I needed to talk to you about later, because I haven't decided if I want to turn it actually into a script or a book.
I have a few stories.
Well, that's great.
That have that dilemma, so.
Well, I think you two seem so, you're so eager. It's always great to find a partner in crime, I think, because having a writing partner or a creative partner can be really motivating. Yeah, and you seem to get along so well, and the fact that you went through some adversity is really good also, because you learned how to get through adversity and communicate better, and and it's just, I think there's something very powerful about women getting together and creating things together, and this show and just empowering each other to empower others is such a great gift you can give. We're here.
Feminism talking.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, if you want to talk about adversity, one of the stories that we had lined up to talk about was we did a performance called we did Mary Poppins Jr.
Yeah,
and
they
this
were
is
ensemble, and I had one line.
Yeah, this is not about the performance we did. It was actually something the cast and I, the cast together, we had gone to something in our town called Arts Festival. Yeah. And when we were there, a lot of us were very.
We talked about this on episode 1. But
we did. We brought it up. We mentioned it, but now we're actually going to talk about it.
Yeah.
This is
really dark, so trigger warning, y'all.
So, for us, we all decided together during one of the rehearsals, we were like, hey, Arts Festival's coming up. Do you guys want to all go together? We can go all hang out. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. So we all got together and we all met up. I think Kat and I drove together.
Yeah.
And we get down there.
My dad drove us.
Yeah. We get down there.
And it's so funny. On the way there, I think you literally came out to me on the way there.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Either way, all of us, a good majority of the group, were all openly queer, or at least allies within the community.
It's theater, not to get into stereotypes, but it's theater.
Yeah.
Like,
But when we were at Arts Festival, there was this guy there that was supposed to be preaching the Bible, and he
was like
starts
holding up signs or something.
holding up signs and yelling, and this he does this demonstration thing where this guy,
It's obviously fake.
it's clearly fake. This guy comes up to the guy protesting or whatever and starts like screaming and like swearing at the protesting dude, and the protesting dude just goes, "In the name of the Lord and the Father and the Son, or whatever," and starts like supposed to be like
Spelling.
and it was, what was it, exorcising the dude, because he's saying that there's a demon within him that makes him evil, and then like after he does this, the dude walks off perfectly fine.
It was
And we're like, this
fake.
is so clearly fake. And he starts like saying how all these things are sins, and so one of our castmates goes up and he goes,
The oldest one.
the
too,
oldest
she
one goes
went
up and is like, well, what about us? We're queer. And the dude starts screaming at us. We're like, mind you, we're in between the ages of like 13 to 16.
Yeah.
And he's screaming at us, telling us that we're sins and that we're going to hell.
Yeah, and then it was
Yikes.
wild. And then, so, it was weird just because it was weird that they were even doing this at a festival where children were there. Like,
Yeah.
Like, it was supposed to be a very kid-friendly festival, I'm pretty sure.
The altercation got so bad, the police ended up getting involved to break it up.
Yeah, so what ended up happening, right, is like a bunch of us, what ended up happening, so we were there, and then, like, multiple people, like, how we mistakenly did our debate is we all should have went up together. What ended up happening is people would go up one at a time to call him out, and then he would say something horrific. They would cry, walk away. So someone else would go up, and it was just a repeated cycle.
Yeah. I didn't cry. I just got pissed. I was like
Yeah.
dragged away by the
I
friends.
didn't have a reaction, but basically what ended up happening is this one girl, the oldest girl, was crying, and my dad came over because Jackson and I really like this girl. She's really funny.
I still love her.
She's genuinely really funny. One of
Yeah.
the funniest people I know.
Yeah.
So, if she's watching the podcast, thanks for being comedy gold. But, yeah, so, and if we were now, we would have just walked away, because we would have known now not to engage with it.
Yeah.
But back then,
I still would have. What do you mean? You would have walked away. I still would have engaged. I do this for a living on TikTok.
True. We do fight homophobes on TikTok regularly.
I
that's
do
true.
TikTok lives where I do debates, so.
Cool.
Yeah, but basically, where were we? Oh yeah, so basically my dad comes and she's crying, so my dad comes, grabs her, and we walk away. I don't know if you stayed. I think you might have
I
come with
stayed.
us. So
I stayed.
we left, but then you found us later. A bunch of us were there sitting on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of other people came crying, right? And so we were all, and then like a bunch of people, and then we were sitting there. I think we were just sitting
My
there.
dad pulled me away. I remember I ended up leaving you guys because my dad pulled me away. And then when I got back to rehearsals the next day, I started to be like, hey, is everyone okay? And immediately I'm shut down and by Willow, I think.
No,
who
it was one of the girls who you mentioned you had a crush on. That's what I remember.
Was it really? I don't remember.
Her name was like started with a D.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The person I'm thinking of started with an R.
Oh.
But besides the point, I was shut down and they were like, we're not going to talk about that. We've all agreed that we're not going to talk about that because it was so, like, traumatizing for us.
And I
We don't
wasn't
wanna
there
have the
for that
conversation.
agreement,
No,
actually.
I wasn't there for it either. I was really pissed that I didn't get to talk about it because I was like, I wanted to, like, rehash this a little bit. Not rehash it, but, like, vent about it and like try and like work on it and work on our feelings about it because I was like really upset that it happened. And I was like, I felt like that was something we needed to talk about a little bit.
So after you left, right,
But
a
yeah.
group of us were sitting there, right? And I'm pretty sure the police might have pulled him away before, but then he somehow came back.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting there, and a group of people hear commotion over around where that area was. And so a group of people were like, we're gonna go back. So people were like, we're not done. We're not coming out of this losers.
Right.
So a group of people went back.
I wasn't here for that part.
Yeah, a group of people went back. And it was basically a repeat. The exact same thing just happened again. Right. So we came over, me and my dad, and we just brought more people away. Because basically we heard a group of people, like, sitting there, and somehow one of the girls that was there had a microphone somehow at this point, and she was putting it up to the dude's face and being like, we're all in the community. What do you say to that? And, like, putting a mic on, like, to him, like, interrogating him.
I think she might have taken his mic, because I think he had one.
She might have taken it. Yeah. But basically the group of people were all there, like, basically just trying to be calm, and they like all had arms linked like this, and they were like, there was like 4 of them, and we were like we were like from a distance watching this happen, because I'm not a confrontational person. I still wasn't back then, so I kind of just tried to stay out of it. Right. But basically, we were just watching, right? And they were basically just, like, interviewing him, being like, so, and what they were doing, right? And they were, like, telling him about a bunch of different, like, genders and sexualities, being like, these are things that people could identify with, and they're not sins. And his response was just to say bullshit.
Yeah.
So he was like, bullshit, those aren't real. Like, so.
Never seen this guy again at the festival.
Yeah.
Never returned.
Yeah, good riddance.
But after that, a group of us ended up leaving, right? Because we just wanted to go to the art festival to have fun after rehearsal, right? And it was like dress rehearsal, and the performance was that night. So we come back, right?
Yeah.
To the performance, and we're like sitting there, I'm like, oh, and we sit there, we come in, right? And we're like, we come in, I think me might have never knew over again. We go in, and then Jackson walks up to this one girl, like, blonde hair, like, and I think she was, like, playing one of the main characters, like, one of the main kids.
Maybe.
And Jackson's like, and Jackson says something like, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
You had carbonated drink. You need to stop having carbonated drinks on the podcast.
Yeah. But basically, Jackson walks up to them, and they're like, hey, there was, I don't remember what you said specifically, something on the lines of, hey, do you guys want to talk about what happened?
Well, like, I was like, I came in, and I was like, hey, how's everybody doing after the festival? Like,
and the girl just
that was so stupid. I was like, that was so stupid, that guy. And then immediately I'm shut down. They're like, we're not talking about that. And I was like,
she just looked at you, glared at you, and was like, we're not going to talk about that.
Right.
And I guess there was an agreement that a bunch of us weren't there to have, but.
Yeah, because they apparently agreed on it before. Like, apparently, like, a good group of them had gotten back to the place that we were doing it, because that place during COVID got shut down, but we got to the building, and apparently some of them had gotten there earlier and was like, yeah, we're not having this conversation anymore, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, that building doesn't exist anymore that we used to do.
Well, it does exist, but it got bought out because of COVID.
They should literally, I mean this genuinely, those people suck who bought the building, and they should not do anything bad, but they should, like,
give it back.
A lot of memories.
They're bad people.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
For taking the building.
There was a lot of good memories, because, like, one of my favorite memories is the back of the building had this huge space that they used for costuming, and I loved going back there with the costumes. Like, that was literally my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I remember the amount of times you'd go back there and, like, sneakily touch all the costumes.
We were told we were not allowed to touch them. We were told we were not allowed to touch the costumes. We didn't care. We'd go back there, I'd be like, look at this dress!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, don't touch the red button.
Jackson was like, I'm going to be a famous fashion designer one day. But then
back then,
cool.
Back then I wanted to be a fashion designer. I don't anymore, because I just kind of lost my drive for
mojo.
Right now I'm working towards becoming a hairstystylist and maybe doing acting on the side. That's something that I actually do want to do.
Yeah.
I got to Misha Collins, and someday I really want to act with him, because Supernatural is one of my favorite shows, and it's a goal of mine to be in a performance with him.
And I'm obviously working towards becoming a voice actor. I'm working on, like, writing, becoming a content creator, like, all of that stuff. But
great. And you and I are going to do something as well. So let me know if you
have... I don't know if
we
want to talk about what you said we have planned on the podcast, but I don't know if we can talk about it, but...
Well, let's talk about it separately. And plus,
Okay.
I don't have a ton of time left here. So why don't you ask me any other burning questions
we'll ask
while
you
you've
some
got me?
questions, and then we can
Yeah.
continue talking after Jackson. Okay.
I'm checking our notes to see if
Yeah.
there's anything in here that we had that we wanted.
Yeah, anything. There's anything that your listeners might want to know.
Ooh.
I do want to talk about this because we talked about it during our class, so I wanted to know, like, you said stuff about, like, things you would change about if would like to be different if, like, you got the role of Gwen today.
Yeah, I mean, I guess progressively, or I think there's some things around Gwen.
She's very
I made a-
boy-centered, is the
I
thing.
made a comment.
Yeah.
I made a comment when I saw Gwen. I was like, I don't know. I think Gwen is a raging bisexual just by the way she looks.
That's something that they could have delved into, I think. I think there are a lot of people out there that feel like Gwen could have been queer and could have
Yeah.
explored that side of her, and I think the show would have been a great place to explore that and just have those conversations and just explore that, I guess, theme. I think that would have been really cool. And yeah, I guess that's definitely the big one for me. Like, why not have her, since she is so relationship crazy, like she's definitely boy crazy, but she could have just been girl, everything, and then this time because she could have been girl crazy for a little while. It could have been human crazy, or looking for a little, a partner in crime or whatever. So I think that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, like she
maybe
has, like,
in
the
years
most
to come.
love interest, doesn't she? Like,
Say that again.
I'm pretty sure she has the most love interest out of any character.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I do think she has like a huge queer following. So I think a lot of people have wanted to ship her with
I've known who
other
are, like,
Courtney, like
lesbians.
ship.
I
Yeah.
ship them too. I've known a lot of people who are lesbians who are like, I want Gwen to be gay so I can be with her. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I've heard that before. So that I think there's a missed opportunity there. But I mean, I guess we never know. It could be something in the future. Maybe the creators will write that for some future episode when they bring all the OG characters back or something.
yeah.
Because I think that would be really cool. And then just general performance stuff, I think, is what I was sort of mentioning on the show, or not on the show, in our class, that, looking back on any of my performances, I know in the moment, it was where I was in my acting journey. And I think that's something that, as a creative human, which you two are, it's one of those sort of jobs, I guess, or careers or callings that it's always evolving and it's always changing and you're always growing in it. So when you look back at your stuff, you always look back thinking, oh, I might do that differently now, or I could do it so much better now, or I would have anchored it differently or whatever. And I think that's just part of growth. You look back and you think, oh, I'm different now. I've grown a lot since then. So you can really see your growth. And so I think a lot of actors also have a little bit of a cringy thing. There's a cringe thing that happens when you look back at your past stuff.
I
You're
don't
like,
like
oh,
to
There's
watch
a
back
lot
my
of
old stuff.
oh god, I refuse. We back in middle school when we were friends. Speaking of writing stuff, Kat and I were working on a lot of like scripts together, and I
refuse to read them.
I refuse to read them too. I'm just like, nope.
I read them when I want a good laugh, but I never read them to enjoy. I don't.
Or
Like,
if we even mention our first YouTube channel, we
we need to react to that.
We
on
need to do it on an episode, but we had a YouTube channel also back in middle school, and it was super cringy. I watched a couple of the episodes, and I was just like, I was such a weird kid.
Yeah.
No, it's so great. And that's so normal, and that's part of evolving as a human. And it's not a bad idea to look back at some of those little kernels of what you were interested in, because you never know, some of those you may
Even
have
watching
forgotten that.
back my old plays that have recordings of, it's hard for me to watch them.
Yeah, it is, but it's where you were at that time. But sometimes our ideas from when we were younger will still stand the test of time, and it gives you an opportunity to go back and recreate it now with all the knowledge and wisdom and growth that you've, and just all the changes you've gone through, especially if you've, all the coming outs and coming ins and
I have
the queerisms and the evolution of being queer, right? That really changes, has lots of iterations as well. Lots of change.
I have a lot of YouTube videos that, because a lot of my friends are, also YouTubers. When they'll pull up videos that I've made, there are a lot of them that I'll, leave the computer. If they would pull up, I'd, leave the computer and walk away until they stop playing it.
Yeah.
So
funny. Yeah. Well, listen, I will leave you with this. Do not try to be gentle with yourself when you look at old stuff and things that give you cringy things, because you needed that. That was just a stepping stone. I think of every moment in life is a stepping stone to the next moment in life, and being alive is such a gift, right? We just don't know how long if we knew we were going to be here until we were 110, that would be different, but we don't know if we're going to be here until tomorrow or until or for another 80 years or whatever. So make the most of it, make the most of every moment, every stepping stone. Embrace your
as a grandma.
Embrace the chaotic grandma.
Who knows, but embrace the mistakes, embrace the all the little things, the ups and downs. There are always going to be ups and downs and sidewayses and loop-de-loops, and that's life. We're here for a good time, not a long time, so have a great time. Live in the moment. Dream.
YOLO.
Keep dreaming. Yes, always. And you do, and you want to live with intention,
which is a whole nother thing,
right? Which is
besides the point.
It is right. But even if you do, you're still, we need to live in the moment now. We're here today, and living in the moment can be really helpful for a lot of things, especially if we have anxiety or things like that. It's just be here right now and celebrate the little wins, focus on the good, try to stay positive. Some positivity can be a choice. If it can be a choice, great, lucky you. And I'm so honored to be on this show, and I'll come back again, I promise. It would be great.
We'll invite you
and Kat, you and I can talk. You and I will talk another time about my idea.
Yeah,
and
you can email me about it when you're.
I'll email you, or maybe we can set up a Zoom and chat about it, and that might be easier. We can kind of do some strategizing, because I think it could be really good. I think it could be really great, actually. And
I don't know what you're planning at all, so I'm excited to hear.
No, I really think there's something there, and I think it'll be really
be in the know.
Yeah, I know you do.
Right. Well, it's nothing. It's just you. It's just being you. It's just being you. It's nothing more than that, but it will just involve helping kind of a wider net.
Pretty well. That's a strength of mine.
You do. I do think, I know you do. And that's what I'm seeing in you as a young person. I'm seeing that you know yourself. You've done a lot of work on yourself. You're a really good communicator. I think you can be a real role model. I think you could be a big role model, and
I argue that she sucks at communicating, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. We can always be better at things, and sometimes we're not always the best communicators when it's hard.
When it's
hard.
Yeah.
Stressful, when it's hard. That is usually when we are our worst communicator, when we're not our best. That's when we have to be our best selves, when we have to try. We have to work.
Explain something in a situation where I haven't thought about how to explain it 100 times. I won't be able to.
Hey, maybe you panic, or you get, flustered, or you get worried about, trying to break it down. But this is all part of it. This is your skill.
But it comes out a different way.
That's okay. And that's just part of it. But thank you so much, and Jackson, so nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was really
so nice to meet you.
I look forward to having you back on the podcast.
Hey,
okay,
Jackson,
amazing. Well, thank you.
If you guys want to talk about it to class with them, who knows?
I would love to join your class, but I don't have $50 to just throw out.
I get it. Well, maybe we can do something that's where something we can maybe think about, what Kat and I are going to do. Maybe it will involve a bit more of a pay what you can situation, so it can include more people. Because I'd like to.
I don't know what we're gonna do yet, so. I'm just
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that first.
Yeah.
But stay tuned. I'm sure your listeners are intrigued. Just means
listen,
more
listen,
cat.
listen.
more Kat and Gwen. Why not?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And-
you have a
and,
great rest of
Alright.
your day.
We'll see you. Have
You
a
too,
great rest
and-
of your day. Podcast.
Okay,
we're
you
gonna
too.
keep talking about our things, but Megan's gonna have
Yeah,
to go out, but
that
we have more
sounds
stories
great.
to tell, but
That's
Yeah.
And Jackson, I'll leave you with this if you can think who I may have played in Ginny and Georgia.
I'm gonna go look it up, and then I'm gonna go watch these scenes that you were in. And
All you have to
I'm
do
gonna
is-
be like, I know that person.
Just watch the first 10, 15 minutes of episode 1 and you'll know immediately.
Okay. I will. I have to probably rewatch
All right.
it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's so good. We've already done that. So, all right. Thanks again, Kat. Thanks, Jackson. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and evening. And I'll see you on Tuesday,
all right,
Kat.
all right.
Okay.
See you on
Bye.
Tuesday.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, how do I get out? No. I don't even know how to leave. I hit edit. I thought it said exit.
There's a
There's
big
a
red
big
button.
oh, I found it. I hit edit. I hit edit, not exit.
All right.
So much for these glasses. Okay, let's do that again. Take 2. Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. So sadly, Megan had to go, but good news for you all.
Why are you
we
still
not-
wearing your headphones?
Okay, I'm leaving that in just because.
Anyways, yeah, we had to wrap up the conversation with Megan, as you guys all saw and heard our little goodbye.
But don't be sad because we're not ending just yet.
Nope. We still have a few more little stories about our theater experiences since we were both
Yeah.
theater kids and we grew up with it. So let's dive into some more extra stories.
Okay.
Did you want to start with Crash? No, it was Crash. It was
Do you want to do the Christmas play first?
Do we want to go in chronological order?
I don't remember the chronological order.
The radio show was first.
Oh, okay. Let's do
Because that was
one.
still during COVID, and
Yeah.
that was a lot more in COVID than the Christmas
Yeah,
show.
so the radio show is actually what made me realize I really like voice acting, because it was like doing different shows, because back then basically voice acting is what existed back when radios were a thing. But I think we did a couple plays. So we did a couple superhero ones specifically. We did Flash, and we did
It was, okay, so the radio show that we did was
Superman.
it's supposed to be 1950s, how a lot of like plays and musicals and stuff like that were over the radio, and so we had a lot of practice with using objects like even soda cans to make sounds, and like yeah, we had to learn like how to make sound effects by using objects, and we recorded it. We have like videos of us. Do you know if there's a video of it?
There was, but I never got it.
I never got it either, so I don't know where to find it.
I want to see it now. I don't know. Watch it. Like,
I
I'm
wonder-
genuinely curious about that one.
I wonder where we could find it.
We could ask Willow, but
We could ask Willow.
yeah. So yeah, we did a couple. We did.
It's a bunch of like little mini plays. I don't
Yeah.
remember. It's been a long time.
I know
since
we
we've done
did.
it.
I know we did Flash, and then I played a space princess who was like pretending to be a damsel in distress but was secretly evil.
I remember
and you played Dale, the actual damsel in distress. And I remember, even though we hated each other, we sat down and had a conversation, and you were like, "We would be better as each other's roles. Should we ask Willow?"
Right. We tried to swap roles.
Because you thought I'd be better as the Dale character, and you also thought you'd be better as the other character.
Right. I don't think we did switch roles though. I think we
Didn't, no,
got
because
stuck
Willow
with
wouldn't
what we
let
were.
us.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure you really wanted to switch.
Yeah. But besides the point, there was another thing too, is that I got to really work on my southern accent for that one, because I got to be like a little southern belle on the radio show.
Yeah.
Which was really fun to do, and I actually really enjoyed it.
I really like I liked you and one of the girls there I had a big crush on for the longest time in
Wait,
high
really?
school. Yeah.
Well, this was back when we weren't friends, so I wouldn't know this information.
Like, I went to junior year with her and we were talking. I had she was so pretty. I had a big crush on her because we were in drama. We were in drama 3 too.
Yeah.
And then we did High School Musical together. Like she played the lead girl. Like she was so.
Well, I know that you wanted to talk about how that specifically got you into voice acting.
Yeah, so it kind of did because I was like, damn, this is a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed like quote, it wasn't real voice acting, but I really enjoyed it, and it was a really cool idea for me to be able to like shift voices and like not be physically seen, but be seen through like someone else's eyes, like a character. You know, it's really interesting, and I really got me into it, and I started pursuing it more right after that. So, like 2021, I think is when I booked my first like voice acting thing. So
I have a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah,
where at least me in costume.
Yeah, I have a couple pictures of me in costume as well.
It's on my other phone that I did not bring with me today.
It's probably mine or probably on my Instagram, but that play, I genuinely really enjoyed that play a lot. Like, I had nothing bad to say about it.
Right. And then another play that we did while we hated the fuck out of each other was a Christmas themed, it was like a murder mystery. What was it called? The Christmas Escape?
Something like that.
I think it was called the Christmas Escape. It was like a murder mystery. No, it wasn't. It was an escape room, Jinx. Yeah. And my character finds the last clue that gets us out in the very end. Like my whole the character in the performance that we did that I played was supposed to like be very antisocial, emo, like not wanting to be around anybody, and honestly not even wanting to be there.
I talked to my dad, and my dad was like, well, they're perfect for that role.
I know.
But I remember at the time you were mad you got that role, but
at the time, because I didn't know how to play a serious character, and Willow, our director, told us or told me that the reason why she gave me that role was to give me a challenge. To give me something to work on.
So for context, we hated each other. So everything, and for context, this was during COVID, so we were split into different trios of like 3 different escape rooms, and I'm pretty sure we had the last escape room
together.
Because we were put together with one other person who I did not like for some reason. I mean, she seemed like a lovely girl. I just hated her for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
I just remember being like, when we were recording that, I know this is going to sound really shitty, and I don't agree with what I did then, but I remember how annoying you were to me then, and I kept repeating to, like, my friends and my family and myself that I was like, she shouldn't be acting, she's so horrible, because I was so mad at you.
Yeah.
I was so mad. But I don't believe it now.
Yeah.
That was just me being
really
petty.
like acting.
Yeah.
But another thing that happened, right, is so when we went in there, right, I really wanted, there was a few roles I really wanted, and I remember going in there, and on the audition day, like, you read for this one character you really wanted, right?
Just
like
Darby.
Upbeat, like, super, like, optimistic, overly positive character, and I walked in, and she was like, and the next day after auditions we walk in, and that was one of the roles I wanted at the time, but I didn't think I was gonna get it, because I was like, at the time I was like really insecure, and I like was like, I hate Jackson because they suck, but also they're gonna get all the roles I want because the world hates me.
Right.
And they want that role, so I'll never get it.
Right.
But then I ended up getting that role, and after that I was like, shit, they're gonna end my life here. Like,
I was really wanting to be Darby, and then she got Darby, and I was pissed. I was like, that was the fucking role. I think I went home to my dad and like had a full-on like yelling fight with him about it, because I was like, I'm pissed off that she got the role I wanted.
Yeah.
And I even talked to Willow about it. I was like, why would you do that? Why would you betray me like this? I didn't like actually say that, but I was like, I was really disappointed. What happened was I went to her and I was like, I was really looking forward to playing Darby. Why the hell did you give me this character? And she was like, because I wanted to challenge you.
Yeah.
Because Darby would have been the character that you're typecasted as. Darby would have been the character that I know you're good at. She straight up told me, I almost gave you Darby, but I wanted to see what you would do.
Mm-hmm. And I actually asked her why I got Darby, because I was, in my head, I was like really terrified about what you were going to do.
Right.
For some reason, in my head back then, I had a really weird fear of Jackson. I was like, Jackson is probably secretly a serial killer. Like, he probably have bodies.
I am secretly a serial killer. You'll You'll never know.
Like, I was like, fuck, my body's gonna get thrown into the lake because we live on a fucking island, so I never, but then Willow actually told me straight up.
You saw nothing.
I didn't see it.
No, it wasn't you. I was saying it to the camera.
I actually didn't see it, so.
That's okay. The camera did, but you didn't.
But, basically, we were... So I asked her, I was like scared, like, why'd you give me this role? Because I like wanted it, but then I was scared. And she was actually like, what she told me straight up was, I usually cast you as characters with a lot of attitude. And she was like, that's a mistake, because when you walk into auditions, she basically told me I'm always smiling and like overly happy when I'm in auditions. So she was like, why the fuck do I always not give you those types of characters?
So I wonder if what she did was swapped our typecast.
Yeah.
Because you are often typecasted with the characters that are moody. My character that I played was moody.
Yeah, and I think she might have been realizing, like, I think because she always typecasted us, and I think she was like, wait, I'm typecasting them wrong.
Right.
Like, because arguably, Darby's the type of character that would fit me.
Right,
and
but I was often typecast as.
And your type of character was the character that would fit you, but...
often typecasted for you.
Yeah. So I feel like it was probably an intentional choice because she wanted to see us like on a level that like she probably knew she was probably like oh my god, like the way they come into auditions, like the way our vibes probably fit those characters, and she was like, wait, why am I'm not casting based on vibes at all, so decided to give it a try.
Right.
You know? And I think it turned out well. Like I think I played Darby quite well. I was proud of my performance.
I'll be honest, I did think you did a good job.
You did?
I hated that you did. I hated it
Yeah.
so goddamn much. But I do actually think that you did a really good job.
Darby is my kind of character.
Yeah.
A part of me was jealous of your character, even though I didn't want to play it, because I knew that you got to read your lines because your character was always on the phone, and I was so angry.
This is my character, literally on my phone 24/7, and so I talked to our director, talked to Willow, and I was like, hey, out of curiosity, my character is always on her phone. Can I be on my phone and like legit have my script on my phone and be reading from the script? She goes, as long as you can make your cue, go for it.
Yeah, and I remember one time, like, the three of us were talking about, like, cosplays that we wore to Comic-Con, and this was when I really hated you. Like, it was me, you, and the other girl, right? And we were all talking about our costumes. And
I was Raven, and you brought up being Starfire. I remember that.
And I got really upset.
I got really upset because I was pissed that it proved how well of friends we were. Because Raven and Starfire are canonically best friends.
Yeah.
And you were very much Starfire, and I was very much Raven back then. And I was pissed that we brought it, we were talking about it, because I was like, why would she be Starfire? Like, that's so stupid. But in the back of my mind, it was really... That's my best friend.
I remember, and you kind of took it out in the way that really hurt my feelings at the time. I'm real. Like, I went home and cried to my dad because you told me something like, no one asked you what you dressed up as, even though the other girl literally asked. I'm pretty sure. Like, and you were like, no one asked you, and I was like, and I said that hurt my feelings, and you're like, that's not me. I was playing my character. And I was like, bitch, I know you were playing your character.
That sounds like something I would do. I don't remember doing that, but that does sound like something I would do.
So I went home and cried to my dad about how much of an asshole you were.
Yeah, I was a bitch.
Yeah.
I was just petty.
And then I'm pretty sure the next day, like, I don't remember why we discussed it, but, like, somehow we, like, forgot that we were in a fight the next rehearsal for whatever reason, and we were talking about, like, Teen Titans, and I was like, I love Starfire, she's my icon, but then I think we remembered mid-fight, and you were like, Starfire is the most annoying character ever, I fucking hate her.
Yeah.
And I brought up how that you wanted to be Starfire one time, and that I was jealous of you at the time, and you were like, that's only because I wanted to marry Robin.
That's true. I had a huge obsession with Dick Grayson when I was younger.
And so I remember you being like, I hate Starfire because she's annoying, and in my mind I was like, but I'm exactly like her. So I was like, they're calling me annoying through a character.
I was. That's the worst part. I was.
Yeah.
Do you want to scroll on the list so we can...
and then when we did the performance, I remember a group of my friends actually came, and a bunch of them, like, they didn't like you for whatever reason. This is where I was an asshole. They hated you for whatever reason, and that's part of the reason we were friends. And so, and nothing against them. Like, they're allowed to dislike who they want. I'm gonna be real. Like, people are allowed to have their opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overall, if people don't like me, it's like, it's just their opinion. I'm trying to not feel bad about it anymore.
Right.
But, like, so it's like and I like all those people. I had a good time with them. So,
we're going off of our notes, but our notes
anyways, we were there, and I was like, "How good of a job?" And this is where I was an asshole. I walked in, and I was like, "Did I do a good job?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Did Jackson do a bad job?" And they're like, "Yeah." So, which is true. You did a good job.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually think I did a really good job, especially since I had to be very sarcastic, and at the time I wasn't really.
And the reason I asked that is because I was like, I was like, Jackson did a good job, but I don't want them to do a better job than me.
Right.
So, like, I was like, they did do a good job, but it can't be better than me. That's not allowed, because they suck.
At the time, that's when I was with my ex Jay, and I'm pretty sure he was there for one of the performances.
Oh God.
Actually, wait, no. He wasn't there, because I remember very vividly that he made up an excuse as why he couldn't go.
Oh my God.
That pissed me off.
So, and yeah, the reason my friends came to performance is, it was annoying, because
I had friends there.
My group of friends came because it was the same day as my birthday, and I was really upset about that, for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
It was literally the exact same day, and I went there, and then I went there, and I'm pretty sure you said happy birthday to me, and I was, like, really angry about that for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, they're being petty, they're trying to make me think they like me again, but they hate me, and they want me to die.
I never wanted you to die. I just wanted you to stop having an acting career and stop being in my life. That was it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Drama 3?
Yeah, so what that was, right? And there's a couple stories, like, and there's one person who I didn't like, but they actually talked to Jackson about how they watched the podcast, so they're a good person, I think, deep down. Most of the reason I didn't like them was my fault, and I think that we might have misjudged them based on their behavior towards other people, because I think we didn't take account of their feelings very well, so, when this all happened. But I'm gonna get into that later, because that was year 2. Year 1, we did a theme, right? Because it was themed, it was like sketch comedy, like SNL, right? And so we did a sketch, right? And I liked this group, but I hated them at the same time, because I felt like I had really good ideas. But the group never heard me out, and, like, there were some people that I really thought it was...
Keep talking. I'm gonna run to my car and get another monster, because I'm starting to fall asleep again.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say donut, and I was low-key jealous.
I wish I had donuts in my car.
Dude, I would beg for some if you did. I would please.
No, I need to, like, work. I want to lose weight so bad.
Yeah.
I know the monsters aren't helping, but you know what?
But
anyways, keep talking. I'll be back.
I'm gonna go with the podcast. But we were doing one, right? And so it was like the theme we did. Like, we all did themes. We all did write themes to vote for, right?
Put my shoes on.
Alright, we all had to do themes that we were gonna vote on, right? And so we voted, and the original theme was like, that was voted for was like a theme where it was like nostalgia, and like people were gonna go into a room, get an item, and I was gonna like, reveal nostalgia and go into a scene. But the teacher didn't like that, and he was a great teacher, but he thought that would be too complicated, so we changed it to thrift store. And I remember being really upset, like, why did our class get the worst theme ever? It wasn't that bad. So the first sketch we did was a Scooby-Doo sketch, and I cannot watch that back. I was really anxious, I was really awkward on stage. I cannot watch that sketch faggot, good thing. And it was like, I played Daphne, one of my favorite characters in Joy Roles, and I fumbled it, and I'm really mad. I even realized after I performed it. And I was like, they recorded the day I fumbled it. Like, I did it good the other time, but they recorded the day I fumbled it a lot. So that was really frustrating. And we did that sketch, right? And we did a number of sketches, like most of the 90% of the show that we write sketches about gets cut, but that sketch made it in, and I was really happy, because that was the one I wrote, but I was the only one that voted for, only one of my sketches made it in, and I voted for it, both years, so I just wasn't memorable, I guess, but that sketch was interesting, right? And, so we had, I think that where was I? Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, I'm blanking, but I need Jackson here to help me talk. But we did that one. The other sketch that made it in was, this sketch I hated. It was like, I hated that it made it in. I didn't write for it, and I was in it, and I hated it. It was like the most boring one. And it was about how, we wrote one about how, like, my character was Tammy with a Y, and I would bully this girl, Tammy with an I, for being a copycat, while we were trying to support this other girl going through a breakup, and this other girl was, like, doing puns the whole time. So, it was, and basically, and the amount of sketches made it in. There was this one girl who had really edgy humor who did it, right, and we did one, and she wrote multiple versions. Jackson knows this, because they were at the audition we didn't get a part in. But they wrote a sketch, right? The versions that they wrote, like the ex that they were heartbroken over was named Ronaldo Fink for some reason. I don't know why we named them Ronaldo Fink. Like, what kind of name is that? But it was the person who came up with it. They came up with it, right? And we had multiple endings involving the teddy bear, and we couldn't decide which ones. We actually asked the audience to vote multiple times as we performed it, because we were really unsure which one we wanted to do, right? And a few of the endings were freaking crazy, man. Like, one of them was just how my character was secretly with Ronaldo Fink the whole time, right? And then we had another one where the pun girl, because we all thought she was dumb, we found out she was actually dumb because she was with Ronaldo Fink but had no idea he was Ronaldo Fink. And then the one ending that this girl who me and Jackson, I think they might have detransitioned actually, but they were at our audition, we didn't get a part in. And the one that they really wanted it was really edgy because they had edgy humor, was when we opened the bear and we took out the bones of the dead body of Ronaldo Fink out of the teddy bear, and my character was supposed to say, this is why you'll never have to part from Ronaldo Fink ever again. It was like, I'm talking.
I'll watch the. Don't repeat it. I'll watch it.
But this girl was really edgy, right? And that happened, right? And we actually, I think she might have detransitioned. I'm not sure, but we were at auditions with them, and they did really good. But they were really edgy and they did humor, and they wrote that in. But none of those endings made it in. We just had puns happen, and then we did a quote unquote extreme take on feminism, where we all started talking about how it was okay because all the men were gonna die. And that's how we sang a song about how men should die. Wouldn't do that now, but it was kind of an extreme take on it, right? And then the first sketch, Scooby-Doo, which I didn't talk about, the original didn't make it in. It was really dark. So the original, I came up with the idea, they did it. Then I was absent for a week because I got sick, and I come back, and how they wrote it was, Shaggy was addicted to cocaine. We all were having an intervention with him at a thrift store, because the theme with thrift stores, we had to put it in. Shaggy calls out everybody. He says, you know what, guys, you're right. I'm going to change. He goes to the bathroom to go piss, and the girl who played Shaggy walks back, and she actually snorted. In this original scene, she actually, snorted baby powder, and it came flying off her mask during the performance, and it was really weird, and for some reason, our drama teacher was completely fine with this. Right, and so but that got cut because he said we would get fired if we put drugs in the sketch. But what ended up happening, right, is he walks back and he's like, I don't see what the big deal about cocaine. And then he starts calling everyone out. He's like, Velma, you have a superiority complex. You think you're better than everyone else when you suck. And then he was like, Then he was like, Daphne, you're crawling over Fred when the only thing he wants to fuck is his traps. and then Fred's like, Daphne, Velma, go to the car. I'm going to teach him a lesson. And this is the part that got cut that I'm so glad got cut because it's really fucked up. And I wasn't there to write this. So my character Daphne and then Velma go to the car, and then Fred comes out with Scooby. And then he throws him to the ground and starts beating him to death. It was horrible. And then he's like, see, this is what happens when you do cocaine, Shaggy. Your pets die or something. And then he was like, Scooby's better off without you. For some reason, everyone thought that was hilarious and a phenomenal sketch, except me and the girl who played Velma, who did not want to have a dog get murdered on the sketch.
No, that's fucked.
Like, everyone thought it was, like, hilarious and phenomenal.
It would have been funnier if, like, Fred... This is gonna sound bad, but if, like, Fred fucked Shaggy...
Oh my god.
Like, if Fred was like, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, and then fucks Shaggy...
Like, killed him? Or,
no! Fucks him!
like, S.A.? Oh my god.
No, I feel like it would be consensual. I kind of like. I feel like Shaggy is just kind of a little bit of a whore at times.
Yeah.
In a way, and I feel like he would
like,
fuck anything. That
me and
moves.
the girl that played Velma were luckily the only people that got it until like did the final show, and we wrote that out. But we were forced to write out the best part, which was cocaine.
Wait, better idea. Hold on, so sorry, but like better idea. So the part where Shaggy says to Daphne, "You're all over Fred," is because Shaggy had feelings for Fred for the longest time.
Oh my god.
And so when Fred goes, I'm gonna teach Shaggy a lesson because Fred is the man whore, he would fuck everybody. He turns around and is like, you know what, me, right now. And Shaggy's like, oh, okay, Only because of the fact that he's been into Fred for years.
Yeah, but it's crazy, right? And then, yeah, especially because Daphne and Velma left. But it was, like, really crazy, right? And, yeah, obviously that cut. But we had to cut the cocaine. It didn't end up being funny. No one laughed when they performed it, unfortunately. So we had to change most of the comedy stuff with stuff we weren't allowed to put in.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff that was actually funny. So what ended up being is Shaggy was addicted to Scooby snacks, and they made him go delusional. Like, at one point he said that he did, like, at one point Daphne's like, what you did at my character, who I played Daphne, and she's like, it was really fucked what you did at my birthday dinner. And Shaggy's just like, if Scooby doesn't have to wear clothes, I don't see why I should have to.
See, that's funny. I would have laughed.
But no one laughed. And then Shaggy's like, we're like, yay, we got him to stop eating Scooby snacks, but he comes back eating more. So it wasn't as funny because the funny stuff was unfortunately like edgy stuff.
Right.
So, and then the last one we did was a judge scene, like a court case, and I played the judge. And what ended up happening is there's 4 characters. The judge, which was me, which was really into the drama. She just wanted all the tea. She was here for this like gossip. There was the main guy who was accused of burning down a thrift store and killing everyone inside, but he was innocent because he did it in a VR game.
Oh.
And then there was the girl who was like his lawyer, but they had a history because they were exes because he left her at the altar. And it turned out he left her at the altar and because he objectified her a lot. It was like, it was supposed to be like a take making fun of people who objectify women, right?
Okay.
Right. And so we kind of made it really extreme. And it was also making, the woman was kind of a pick me because she took him back. But anyways. And then the character that comes in, right? The person who, there was a witness called to the stand who's supposed to prove his innocence, but he instead says, you did it. You burned the kids. You burned the kids. And then the guy walks in like, are you sure? That was VR chat. Are we playing VR chat? And then he grabs him and was like, this is VR chat, this is all a simulation.
Like what I said earlier, we're in a simulation.
Yeah, and he starts saying, this is all a simulation. None of this is real. And then he starts saying that he sold a bunch of Bitcoin and stuff to pay for his VR chat, and he like got NFTs. And then he confesses, then the witness is like, fine, I did it, it was me. And then the judge is like more paying attention to the ex's drama. So the lawyer's like, the witness just confessed to the crime. Right?
That's funny.
And then we had it, and then after the scene, he's like, I have to thank you. I'm so sorry I've been treating you. And then he's like, can I borrow one of your rings? And she's like, it's on the floor, because the actor actually accidentally dropped it. So he takes the ring, and he's like, you know, you're beautiful, and your resale value is out of this world.
Okay then.
Will you take me back? And then she's like, yes. And then they're like, let's go get married right now. And I chase after them like, I'm ordained. Let me marry you. I'm a judge. But then the police officer who's played by a girl comes on, and the last guy comes back, and he's like, God, please give me a woman who will see how amazing I am, see my perfection. Please, you have not graced me yet. And then he looks at the police officer, and she's like, don't even think about it. And then it's that. And that was the other scene. And then the second year of that class is where I actually hated it, because we're gonna call this person Iris. I had a falling out with them because of stuff similar to Jax. So it was mostly my fault, when actuality I had no right to hate them. But we called them Iris in the first recording, right?
I don't know.
Or in the second one? I don't remember. It was either Iris or Ivy, but...
Either way, just keep going.
Okay, but
I will say, only another 20-ish minutes. I am getting very tired, and I need to be home for dinner.
Okay, so this person, so they have every right to do this, to be clear, because I did them dirty, but they were very passive-aggressive, and I fucking hated it. And they would always talk to me sometimes and like try to have conversations with me and then say stuff that I don't know if this was true, like they probably didn't mean to, but in my head they were intentionally trying to say things that hurt my feelings and piss me off.
Yeah.
Like there was one time where after we did High School Musical, they were both in, we were talking about how schools have a bias towards people in sports. And that was a big part of High School Musical, so when they said that's not true, and then they were like, and then we were talking about experience, and they're like, so you had a bad experience, and that's whatever, or something like that. I don't remember what they said specifically, but it was something along the lines of that, and I got really pissed, and I just stormed the fuck off, you know? And then, so I was in scenes with them, but we didn't want to do our scenes together, but the teacher put us in a scene together, just us two, and it didn't go the worst. But like there was one time where I complimented them, being like, you should be on Broadway, I think is what I said. Take this with a pinch of salt, because my memory of like exactly what was said is not very good.
Yeah.
But I was like, you should be on Broadway, and then they got offended because they had other bigger plans or something. I don't remember. Maybe I said something and didn't come out right, but maybe I said it differently and didn't come out right, I don't know. But I don't remember genuinely. So, and then one time, like the girl I had a crush on for the longest time, we were sitting there, right? And they were in charge of dancing, right? And the girl went ahead of them by mistake because they were and started doing their dance part. And then after that, the person basically was just, and then Iris was like really upset, and they were like saying passive aggressive things the whole time. At least this is what I've been told, right? And then after the sketch happened, like the teacher left, and we're all packing up, and we walk over, and Iris is like screaming at this girl. We'll call her wait, no, that was her real name.
Why not Lori?
Lori. Okay, we'll call her Lori.
Remember to cut that out though.
Yeah, I'll try. And they started yelling, because I think their pronouns were they, them, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Iris, I'm sorry if your pronouns were not they, them, but I don't remember. But, they started yelling at Lori, like saying, you treat me like a piece of shit, you guys are all assholes, I hate you all, and like screaming at them like at the top of their lungs, and we all got scared, right? And me being really awkward, for some reason, I don't know why I did this, I tried to give Lori a hug while they're getting yelled at and just standing there. And it was just me extending my arms and them not noticing. So then we left, and I basically just talked shit about them. But then they were like, shut me down, like, we're just not going to talk about it anymore. Because we all stormed off, and we're leaving because you're an asshole, is what somebody said. And we all just stormed off and left them there to keep yelling, right? Yeah. And I'm sure they just had a bad day. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, and it's possible they definitely were kind of being treated by a piece of shit and then got upset when nobody took their side. I don't really know, because, to be fair, there was a hierarchy where the popular kids definitely weren't gonna be the ones defended. But, Yeah, so Iris started yelling, and we all left. And then after that, right, we had a talk, right? We had a talk, right, about it, right? And the next day, like, they apparently wrote an apology to them, but we had a talk when they weren't there because a bunch of them were at choir, and one of the people who got the apology was like, this apology is bad, and the teacher was like, yeah, I told them not to send it because they put excuses in there, but they sent it anyways, or something like that. I don't know. That's what the teacher told us. And then they didn't have a good, like, home life with their family. I won't get into that. It's not my story to tell. So then one of the girls brought up...
Wait, excuses? Were they actually excuses, or were they reasons as to why they were feeling something?
I don't know. I don't know because I didn't read it, but the teacher said they were excuses.
I don't give a fuck what a teacher says. A lot of the time,
and so did the girl
it.
who got the apology. Multiple people said that, but I haven't seen the notes, so I can't confirm.
It would depend on what's actually being said, because some things can be taken as an excuse, but like in reality, somebody is just trying to explain where they're coming from and what they're feeling, and they just might be explaining it in the wrong way where it comes off as an excuse.
To be clear, I've never seen the note, but I haven't seen it, but I'm just going based on what everyone said. Because I was not involved in this specific thing. I was just like, to me, that was like, yeah, they're an asshole, now I have proof. Like, because I was like, no one else believed they were an asshole, but then everyone now believes it. So in my head, I was like, let's go. Now everyone says they suck. Which, not right of me. And then this is where I was an asshole, right when they're talking about it. One of the girls was like, they talk about not having good a home life or something. Like, actually, when a bunch of people are doing Mean Girls, right? Like, this girl was talking about how she had to perform the song Sexy, and like this person, Iris, started bringing up, hey, just so you know, my grandma's gonna get really upset and call you a slut and stuff to behind your back or something. I was there because I was in this group, right? And then she was like, why don't you tell them not to come? And they were like, well, she's gonna come anyways. And then they were like, why don't you tell them not to say all this shit? And I was like, my grandma's gonna say it anyways. And in my head, I was like, you know, she would never know about this happening if you didn't say that, but...
Right.
But... I don't know, but I think they're neurodivergent, so they might not have known, but... So they might not have thought of that, but where I was an asshole is when somebody brought up they don't have the best home life, like their parents talk about her, they hate like LGBTQ a lot, and where I was an asshole was I outright said to the group, that's not an excuse to be a piece of shit or something.
That's not really being an asshole though. You're calling somebody out on their behavior, which you're right, it's no matter what your home life is or what is going on in your life, it is not an excuse. It makes sense and it can add up to the reasoning, however it's still not an excuse.
Yeah, and to be fair, it was pettily charged though, that's why. Like, because I didn't know exactly what happened, I just knew they yelled at a girl who I kind of had a mild crush on at the time, and that made me upset. Like, so... Lori? Yeah.
You had a crush on Lori?
Yeah.
So did I.
Oh
the fuck did I?
Yeah. I've talked to people at school at this, and they were like, "We all fucking do."
I also had a crush on Lori's brother at one point.
Oh my god, yeah. They were like, their family was like all really good actors. It's crazy.
And attractive.
Yeah. I was like, Lori's really nice. They would never do anything, but I don't really know what happened. Yeah. And then one time when we were doing their dance, they like I have like fine motor stuff, right? So they were like, hey, they like said something that I guess I took as them making fun of my dance. I don't know if it actually was because I don't remember what they said, but like they would like say things like one time, like one time during dress rehearsal, they asked me straight up, and I thought this was petty at the time. They're like, I don't mean this to be mean, but I'm just curious. How do you feel about shaving your leg hair?
Right.
And I got really upset about that. And then one time, right, we're in costumes because we got to choose a costume for the final dance, and they were I felt they were judgy because they looked at this one girl who still messaged me on Instagram, like, this girl's lovely, and they were like, why are you wearing that costume? It's from the clown sketch, because there was a clown one, right?
Yeah.
And so the girl goes and changes the costume, and I felt bad for her. I don't know, but I felt generally bad that she changed it. So I tried to convince her to change it back, but she didn't. But because I felt like she shouldn't listen to people. But anyways, after that, we go to class, my advisor class, my teacher hated us, and I go up to the girl because I'm crying about what happened, and she's like, hey, let's go in the hall, the girl that I liked, Lori, right, and we were like, and I was like, oh my god, and I think I mentioned, like, Iris said that my dancing is bad or whatever, and they said something that hurt my feelings, I don't remember what, and I asked them to train me one-on-one so I wouldn't have to deal with it, and she agreed, and it was really nice. So that kind of, because of her wanting to help me, that kind of, in my opinion, was like, okay, so that kind of reaffirmed to me that Iris was the a-hole at the time, just because, to be fair, I did Iris dirty, I can admit that. I don't want to talk about it in the podcast, because, that's not what this is about, but I'm pretty sure they DM'd you about it, so Jackson knows about it, and I know about it, obviously. So, anyways, so they have every right to be petty to me, but at the time, I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
So I felt, okay, so I was like, so because I felt Iris was petty, and I felt Lori wasn't, I was like automatically on Lori's side because of bias. So, I don't really know what happened. I'm sure that Iris regrets lashing out. I heard that, they talked to the teacher about it, but then in the apology, they said something, kind of what, you did this to make me yell at you or something. I don't know. But, I don't remember. But, my memory is bad about what happened there. But, anyways, we did the final show. We had a good amount of sketches. We had a spelling bee sketch where I played a dumb girl who was really cute, and she was in 4th grade, and I just won. The theme was school, so we went basically throughout the years.
Okay.
And then my character was a 4th grade girl who was cute, and then made the drag queen girl who was on doing this for her parole or something, really like her, so she just said cute things and spelled all the words wrong, but she won. And then I beat out this one character, it was played by a girl, but he was supposed to be the smart kid.
Camera.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the smart kid, you know?
Why is it, there we go. He was really blurry.
He was supposed to be the smart kid, right?
Yeah.
And so that ended up happening.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but I am genuinely falling asleep. I need to drive home.
Okay, okay, well,
can we end it there and then
yeah.
Alright, cool.
I'll just end it with, I'll probably cut the ending out where it talks about the characters, but.
Okay.
But. Anyways, y'all, that was our theater stories. Thank you so much for watching. Nothing against any of the people we talked negatively about. This was all a few years ago. And
we have no idea what we're doing for next episode. But we will have another episode next week.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
And everyone enjoy the. I don't know. I'm tired, bro. I'm sorry. I'm babbling now. Bye!
Iris, don't kill me for talking about you, I'm sorry. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. See you all next week.
Bye!